Miskin Minx's podcast of the week.
Hi.
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 Hi,
My name's Amy.
I'm Georgie,
I'm Charlotte.
and I'm Rebecca, and welcome to Miskin Minx's podcast. On today's, we're doing Room 101, Things Not to Do, and Angry Old Men.
Charlotte's going to be doing a rant for us today, but what is it about, Charlotte?
Different conspiracy theories. I'm just going to explain what conspiracy theory is, and conspiracy theories are actually about Elvis Presley and 9/11, so it should be interesting.
Okay, and we're starting off with things not to do.
Things not to do.
So that's what all of you thought in the North West Kent area, but what do us think in here? Things not to do online, or things maybe you should do online.
Things not to do online, definitely don't tell me what you've got for lunch or post a picture, because one, I don't want to know, and second of all, I just don't care.
And it makes me hungry.
Yeah, and it makes me hungry, especially if it's Subway or KFC.
Oh, I do love Subway.
And it just really angers me, to be honest.
Especially when it's a box of chicken nuggets.
Yeah. Yeah.
So our comment here about food, whereas everyone in the North West Kent area was thinking about safety. But us here, we always like to think about food, don't we?
Yeah. Food first.
Yeah.
Second.
With safety, I think it is important to maybe keep things private. But then I like sharing photos with.
I also like sharing photos, but I think sometimes you have to make sure they're decent photos.
I think that you should keep it so that, like on Facebook you can change your privacy settings so that on some pictures, if you're like sharing pictures of like you half asleep to your boyfriend, then as long as he's the only person or they're the only person that can see it, then
It's
I suppose
okay.
that's fine.
Oh, I put everything up on Twitter. If you, I'm telling you, I've just tweeted in the studio, low.
Yeah, unfortunately we couldn't get an interview with someone who knows quite a lot about staying safe online. But hopefully, if you do have any questions about how you think you can stay safe online, we'll always be able to help you. So if you want to email us at miskinminxes@gmail.com, we would love to hear from you and we'd love to answer your questions about staying safe online. But there's also people, I'm sure, that come into your school, college, work, that always tell you how important it is to make sure you are safe online.
Woo! E-safety.
The lasses in the studio are very helpful and they always want to answer your questions. They love hearing from you.
Love it when you email in. even though we
Agony
don't get any.
aunts.
Yeah, we'll be agony aunts for anyone who needs us,
Love them emails.
which is sweet. Anyway, coming up, we do have our Oh Damn with Charlotte Blaze, and we also have our quiz, Room 101, with Rebecca Buss.
Hi, I'm Charlotte Blaze with this week's discussion, and this week we've decided to talk about different conspiracy theories and our beliefs on them rumours. Right, so many of us are in here Elvis Presley fans. I personally am, I know Amy is.
Yes, I am, definitely.
And when Elvis Presley died in 1977, it was a really big thing, because he was pretty much the biggest star of that time, I think, in the
He
music world.
very controversial. If you
Yeah.
don't know a lot about Elvis Presley, he's very controversial. So he was a big influence on a lot of people, especially women.
Yeah, and when his death was announced, many fans, like his fans, were obsessed with him when he was alive.
Yep.
But when he died, rumours started spilling out that he was faked his own death, that he was in hiding, that he'd only broken a leg.
See,
Oh,
I think a lot of things like that is always the stars.
Yeah.
It's always the ones who are on top that get.
Yeah,
It's all the conspiracy theories
Theories,
when
yeah.
it comes to people who are in the limelight a lot of the time.
but then when I looked into more research, even tabloids got involved. There was two tabloid newspapers, I can't currently name them, but they'd run two stories from the time that his death was announced right up until recent day. They still talk about it.
I mean, that is really big.
Yeah,
I mean,
for a
length
tabloid,
of time.
yeah, for a tabloid story to run a story on it, and they say about his alleged appearances, because apparently he's in disguise and they've seen him. That the fact that on his grave his name is spelled Aaron with a double A, but it's actually spelled one A, so they reckon that's the reason why he's like, that's not him.
So they think someone else is
Yeah,
in, yeah,
because it's not
in
legal.
his place.
Yeah, they have a news story on him even breaking his leg, and they also reckon that his perpetrated real death was in the mid-1990s, just of old age, and that he faked his death to get away from the limelight. He wanted to go into hiding. He wanted a quiet, peaceful life, because obviously before his death, many of us know that he was on drugs. His kind of star had slipped, and then when he died, he was
drastic to say that he's still alive.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
I don't think anyone can understand what it's like to
Yeah.
be in his
No.
position. You just don't know. I mean, sometimes that can be tough, and sometimes you do want to get away. And I don't know if I believe the conspiracy theory. I think he is dead, let's be honest. But let's say it is true, then I can understand if it was.
Yeah, that's like I talked to Sadie, who's like a massive fan of Elvis Presley. She's 55. She was there when the news story came out. She read all about it, and she's a massive fan of Elvis Presley's. And she can understand the rumours, understand the fans that started the rumours. But I spoke to her and I said, "What does she like? Does she believe these rumours?" And she said that he wouldn't be able to get away from all the fame and hide that well, even if he was wearing a disguise or say he'd had plastic surgery and was in a massive hiding place. People would still find him. No, he'd have to. It'd be an inside job, wouldn't it? Like, 'cause he'd have to change his name and everything, and obviously evidence would spill out into the
Does
public
anyone
eye.
think that I think fans come up with this because if they were that obsessed, they just couldn't
Yeah.
let him go?
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
Definitely.
I don't think you should ever believe in anything 100% unless there's actual facts.
And also if it's come from their family, because their
Yeah.
family would know
Oh yeah,
more.
definitely. So I can understand that rumour, but don't 100% believe in it.
Okay, is there another thing?
Yep. With 9/11, 9/11 was such a big thing, and there's
Yeah, and I think
many.
it still is
Yeah.
today, isn't it?
Yeah, many stories and rumours spiral around on the internet about 9/11 though. Some believe it wasn't as it was portrayed on the news, on the telly, how President Bush said it. They believed that the US government, it was an inside job. That, in fact, President Bush had prior warnings of these attacks but didn't do enough to stop it because he wanted to start.
I could be true, but I don't think he wanted to start anything. I think a lot of the big things now, like even if you don't do this, I'll kidnap someone. There's always pre-warning, but a lot of the time it's just to scare you.
Yeah.
And I think
They'd had loads and they'd never done
Yeah.
anything, had
I
they?
think they could have probably been pre-warned. I
Yeah.
think it was probably out in the open pre-warned. I don't believe that George Bush had anything to do with it, but then
No.
what do you think?
Even if you go on YouTube, there's many videos, and
Yeah.
I don't know. It is interesting to see people's like different ideas. There's so many. If you go on YouTube, just type in 9/11
Yeah, I find
conspiracy
things
theories.
like this really
Interesting, yeah. There's many stories on
There
it.
was a documentary on, I think it was around the time of the anniversary of it, and a lot of I think it was to do with twins, and a lot of people, because they were identical, were getting mistaken for their like lost one.
Yeah,
That must be that must hurt
yeah, that must
to have that.
be horrible.
I think if you actually start looking into it and you look up all the information, you find out dates, things like that, and then you start looking at the other side, the conspiracies, you start believing them.
Yeah,
it's really
oh, I
hard
definitely-
not to-
Yeah.
I believe that the government, there is stuff they aren't
Yeah.
telling. Like,
I'm not a history buff. I wouldn't sit there doing that. But then, if you're not, but want to learn a bit of history, this is a brilliant piece of history to learn because I
definitely.
think it's so worldwide. Everyone knows about it, and it's something that no one will ever
it's changed the
forget.
world. The world was never the same after the Twin Tower attacks.
Yeah.
And that's something you could say to someone. You could be like someone that obviously wasn't there in 2001. You could say that the world's changed since then. The more you look into it, you really realise it has. The security
And
in airports.
We
and-
were all born to be involved. We were on the earth while it
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
I feel
That's
quite
true.
proud of that actually.
yeah.
Bit
So
stupid, I know, but
But then that's
Yeah.
also led to 7/7 as
Yeah.
well, which, although it hasn't had as much,
I don't know whether that led to it, but
there
'cause
could be
it's made us
something
more
involved.
aware.
Yeah. Well, I always find this really interesting, and hopefully you found it interesting too, because you've got our opinions, but we'd love to hear yours as well. But email us in. Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think
Yeah.
they should? Okay, what's the email address, Becky?
Email us at miskinmixes@gmail.com.
email us at miskinminxes@gmail.com.
Email us at miskinminxes@gmail.com.
Email us at miskinminxes@gmail.com. You've heard that about 4 times now, so hopefully that's in your brain. Please email us. We love hearing from you, and we'd love to hear your comments, whether you were there. If we have someone who was actually there at the time when they saw it, I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, because this goes out worldwide, so
Yeah, I would
anyone.
really love to hear from you, because I don't think we know enough about it, and maybe you can let us know more. Up next, we have a story which our own Ben Forsdyke wrote for us, Unfortunately, he's not here today. He overslept. But we would still love to be able to read it all to you because it's still very good. So, here we go.
Deep within the realms of Misery stands a castle boasting over 300 foot. The castle itself belongs to Dunlock, the infamous sorcerer. Damn, where is he? Dunlock mutters. Lupini peered through the door. Who is he talking to? He questions himself, then strolls on. Anyway, where is my notebook? He mutters to himself as he skulked away inquisitively. Dunlock was talking to Lady Peril about a mysterious resident of the castle, not one they're very fond of. The mysterious resident of the castle is an inhospitable beast, torn skin around his ribs, cockroaches and hissing snakes crawling under his flesh, a creature unknown to man. However, another resident of the castle was preparing for an event that was long awaited by the residents of the castle, creeping around in one of the upmost rooms. Lupini was getting more and more suspicious of Dunlock and Seono's peculiar behaviour. Dunlock, is it today he comes? Seono inquired despairingly. We must be ready. This is our only chance. It's all in hand, Tony. Dunlock stopped. He had spotted Lupini lurking in the shadows. Unfinished sentences become commonplace in this castle. Where he had been spotted, Lupini began to ascend the stairs. I was just looking for my notebook, he said nervously. Dunlock and Seono watched Lupini till he vanished out of sight, and then muttered as they skulked away. A bang resounded on the door. Lady Peril opened it. I am Detective Inspector Black. I am here to arrest Lupini. Where is he? No one spoke. Silence. Suddenly Lupini descended the stairs, totally oblivious. Come with me, you're under arrest. Lady Peril waved at him as he left the castle. Goodbye. As the police left the car, the fourth and most mysterious resident of the castle appeared. His presence run chills down everyone's spine. Come, my friend, he smiled. The mysterious resident known as Master swept along with a movement that likened to a dolphin swimming through the ocean wave. He led him through the castle, unlocked the invisible door to the adjoining room. Seono gazed in amazement, twitching with anticipation. Humongous bolts of lightning generated from the glowing cauldron, enveloping the master as he rolled. His eyes rolled. As Dunlock approached the door, an almighty explosion shook the castle to its very foundations. He stumbled, almost falling back down the stairs, then silence. Sat in his cell, stunned by what had just happened. He had his suspicions, but now he was the suspect. This didn't make any sense, he muttered to himself. Somehow he must try to convince the detective before it was too late. Dunlock was a very respected man who wouldn't believe he could be involved in such plot. Dunlock stood frozen, transfixed, waiting. Nothing. Dare he look, so suspense. How much longer? Finally, the sound. It began like thunder and culminated into a sound like he had heard before. The stained glass windows of the castle shook. A wave of unexplained power swept over him like a tsunami. He clung tightly onto the banisters. The master smiles. The first part of the transformation was complete. The evil within had been unleashed. Lupini sat in his cell patiently waiting. He hears the keys suddenly turn. Finally, he would get a chance to explain. His mind raced, trying desperately to gather every single fact that drew his attention to their suspicious behaviour, not missing a detail. He had to convince them he was right. He told the detective everything. It all began 6 months ago. Lupini had visited the castle to research a book about the castle. He had long admired Dunlock and valued him as his idol. The opportunity to finally meet him and explore the astonishing castle was phenomenal. On his arrival, Dunlock had lived up to all his expectations. Then Seono arrived, his cousin, a very famous man within the realms of the castle history. He represented a dark and mysterious reputation, the opposite from Dunlock. Dunlock became more powerful and more mysterious, and there was confusion with an invisible and unknown room. Seono started to spend more and more time in the uppermost part of the castle, close to the unknown room. Then there were conversations Lupini had overheard, talk of the master's return. The detective had listened, expressionless, and only now did he speak. Nothing was said, he just got up and left the cell. Lupini was taken back, relieved and exhausted. Dunlock and Cerno descended the stairs, satisfied with smiles, filled faces and an evil glint in their eyes. The two approached Lady Peril. It's done, they assured her. The very same glint now appeared in her eyes. The detective will be back soon. Once we lure him into the unknown room, our task will be complete, Lady Peril said. Yes, Dunlock replied gleefully. Cerno turned to Dunlock, who will ever suspect a Detective Inspector, the power will be ours forever.
That was really good.
Yeah, well done, Ben.
Well done, Ben. In fact, I think he's a brilliant short story writer. So if anyone listening out there actually needs someone to write short stories, or is hiring anyone to freelance work as a short story writer, then please get in contact with our Ben.
So yeah, definitely one.
He's really good. He's a brilliant writer. Sorry, Ben. But yeah, so definitely contact him if you would like to hire him, and you know the email address. So up next we have something else which we've had before, but I really do love it, and that's
Room 101.
That's right, Room 101.
Yay! So today's Room 101 is going to consist with the themes we've had throughout this podcast of conspiracy theories.
Okay.
So everyone will have to tell me the conspiracy theory they think is the most ridiculous and should never exist. So who's going to go first?
Charlotte.
Charlotte, do you want to go first?
Yeah, mine's about the death of Princess Diana of Wales. I think all the conspiracy theories around it are so silly and stupid. I think it was actually just hounding paparazzi after her that managed to crash into her. And there's conspiracy theories that, in fact, it was an inside job, they were planned to crash into her, that she was assassinated, that the Queen, didn't want her around no more, so she got someone involved.
That's a bit stupid.
Yeah, I think they are very stupid, and that, in fact, they've got to remember Princess Diana was the people's princess. Paparazzi, people always wanted pictures of her. So wherever she went, the paparazzi hounded her, and it obviously got too ridiculous. And of course, a tragic event happened.
But there's also the conspiracy theories about the driver.
Yeah, apparently the car was faulty on purpose. The brake failure, the brakes have been taken out. All sorts.
But then cars always break down. You can't guarantee that this car's particularly going to break down at this point.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think she was assassinated. I don't think I don't think it's an inside job. Apparently Charles planned the accident in her car
To get rid of her.
to clear her so he could marry Camilla. But I don't know. I think it's just ridiculous. If you look at the way paparazzi treat celebrities, of course,
definitely.
Yeah, they're
get
hounding.
all in their face.
Of course, definitely. So I believe it was all the paparazzi's fault. Crashed into her. It was just a tragic event. Shouldn't have ended up that way. But I think definitely learnt their lesson now. Nothing like that's ever happened again. So
Very well. Amy, what about you?
I agree and don't agree with this. So my argument might not be that strong.
Okay.
But I'm going to go for the UFO sightings and alien invasions. These people who say they've seen aliens before and they worship these aliens. I personally think all this conspiracy about alien invasions, I believe there could be other creatures out in the universe. But I particularly think that all this nonsense that aliens have been here before, but we just can't remember because they've wiped our brains, I think is just rubbish. I think people have made these up due to watching things like Men in Black and also other books which include sci-fi and alien invasions, but I don't think there's such thing as wiping your brains, all of
people
that.
just get a bit carried away with sci-fi.
Yeah.
I think they've been a bit carried away. They've read the books, which don't get me wrong, I reckon some of them are quite good, and I do like Men in Black. But I think a lot of people have taken that and thought, oh my God, they've come down to Earth, but I can't remember because they wiped my brain.
If you think about it, we can't get to Mars by ourselves in that quick amount of time. How are these aliens meant to get here from other universes?
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's a bit stupid, and I want to ban that to Room 101 because I think aliens wiping brains and invading is wrong, and it's not right, and it's not true.
People actually waste their whole entire lives trying to hunt down these aliens.
And, come on, if they're going to come to us, you know, come get me, come.
I'm sure they're
look in
very
the
friendly.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They're probably just like, think of all the planets we've got. They're probably just like us,
Yeah.
just normal humans.
Come and walk in our studio. We'd love to meet you. So any aliens out there that think I am wrong and that you are you do
Managing to
exist,
get onto this wavelength.
then email us if you can.
Georgie, what about you?
People who say that the Holocaust wasn't real. You know when people deny it?
When it was in front of your eyes.
Yeah. And when people say it or it just comes up and I just think, my God, like, how can you just deny something like that when there's so much actual evidence around?
Yeah, it was a tragic event like 9/11.
Yeah.
It's that
It's on the same level. I mean,
built into your life.
millions of people were killed and people just deny it, and I just can't believe that.
They're that ignorant.
Yeah.
It's part of history, you know. That's a fact.
Yeah, and they just say that it wasn't real. Like, how can someone say that is unbelievable?
So, Becky, what do you think should be banned to Room 101?
They're all very good points, but I think the Holocaust one definitely should be, because
It's disrespectful.
it is
It
just
happened in
disrespectful
front
to
of the eyes.
people. It happened. It killed so many people. Just it shouldn't be considered as something that didn't exist. It was all made up, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So, the winner this week is in fact Georgie
Georgie.
Archer.
Woo!
Which is very unusual for Georgie to win, but it's okay.
All right then.
Next up, we have Grumpy Old Men.
Grumpy old men.
I just like people that get involved in conversations when their input is not needed or their opinion is not needed. It really jars me, and I think they should just keep themselves to themselves.
Okay, so if they have a valid point and they kind of overhear your conversation, it's like, oh, and they actually apologise and say, oh, I overheard your conversation, I think that, then
yeah,
it's
that's
all right. But I mean, just to have somebody butt in.
You know what really
Mid-speak.
annoys me? Okay, if someone asks you a question, like, I don't know, how do you do this? And then you're about to answer, but then someone swoops in with their answer. I'm like,
I find that so. And when someone talks over you, that annoys me. Say if me and Georgie were having a conversation and you started,
yeah.
and Georgie captured all your attention, that would really. I'd just be like, fine then. Don't talk to me ever again.
So, Georgie, well... oh, okay. But
Not actually even funny.
Amy just got death stares in the room.
When someone tries to finish my sentence, and I'm like, no, I wasn't even going to make that point, so you can just stop it. And it just really angers me.
So they're things that anger us, and I know that was a quick segment this week, and I know a lot of you do like angry old men, but we do have one last podcast, just one more, and that's, is it 2 weeks' time? Is it 2 weeks' time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next time.
2 weeks' time, and that'll be our last one, so we will have to say goodbye to you. But we've enjoyed making the podcast. I mean, we have a lot of bloopers, which we wish we could show you.
Explicit. Way too explicit.
Yeah, some of it are a bit explicit, which we're naughty us. But I've had a lot of fun. I don't know them.
I've enjoyed
Well, with
this.
Amy as a boss, you know, having fun is hard.
Amy is
but we managed to fit it
just if something doesn't go right, the whole place.
Even
breaks
if
down.
Amy does something wrong, we do get the blame.
Amy normally instigates it. We have to calm her down. So.
Okay, so I'm just going to go. So